Since working together, Ramon was able to introduce tens of thousands of pounds of his coffee to Ottawa and towns all across Canada. Please welcome Ramon Lara.
Hello everyone, can you hear me well? Yes, perfect. Okay, well, welcome to the first Ottawa Coffee Show. My name is Ramon Lara, and I am a Honduran coffee farmer. For those who don't know where Honduras is, that's just very close to Guatemala and Nicaragua in Central America. So I also want to thank Papa Bean for inviting me to talk here today, as well as the organizing team from the event. This is a platform that a lot of Honduran coffee farmers don't get, as well as coffee farmers from all over the world. So it's important for us to have this platform to be able to talk to you guys about what our concerns are and how everything works behind scenes. So I'm an environmental scientist. I just graduated from Carleton University. Any Ravens here? Yes, okay. Anyway, so as a kid, as a Honduran kid, I always had ambitions. I've been very keen to try to help my country somehow, because we're always facing tough situations constantly, not just economically, but politically as well. So I knew that by going abroad to, let's say, Canada or the United States or anywhere abroad, I will be able to learn some things from places that are successful in some of their areas in the society, as well economically, to bring back to Honduras. But the other thing is that I didn't know I was going to face a little twist in my life when in 2015 I came to the Ottawa Farmers Market because I was meeting with a friend there, and my friend saw Papa Bean just there stand there and told them, I have a friend who has a farm in Central America. And I came to Paul, and he was very excited to hear everything about the farm, and he was very interested in the coffee. So from the moment I shook his hand, I knew there was going to be something great happening there. So he also didn't suggest, he didn't hesitate to suggest a trip to Honduras. So right off the bat, the next year in 2016, he decided to travel with me to see the plantation, how everything works out there. So we went there, and now it's all history. We brought more than 100,000 pounds of Honduran coffee to Canada. So that's already a great success so far for us. There's a lot of different things that happen in the coffee world, and I want to talk about one of them today. That's a big injustice that has been happening through the history of coffee export, has slowly been reduced as the years go by, but that is the way we see fair trade. So fair trade is definitely improving. There's a lot of people doing origin trips. There's a lot of people doing direct trade with farmers, which is a great thing to do. But as we went with Paul to Honduras, we found other issues. As we spoke to the farmers, we were able to uncover the fact that not every farmer has the money to be able to sustain their farm for an entire year before getting paid for the harvest. So the way coffee works is you get paid once a year, once your crop is fully developed. You pick it up, you ship it, and then you get paid. So you have to deal with one entire year of credit. Imagine if you have to live on one lump sum of a paycheck once a year. It's already hard to deal with monthly credits. So Honduran farmers have to also deal with not just the hard economy, not just the dangerous, not dangerous, but like hard business to be, which is a crop business, but also credit. Another of the facts that we saw was that when you have to deal with credit, you normally obviously have to ask for a loan, and loans are pretty high in percentage in terms of interest rate in Honduras. To give you an idea, the average loan interest rate in Canada, it ranges around 6% annually, while in Honduras it's 22% annually. If you're lucky enough, you can get a better rate, but if you have a Honduran coffee farmer, because of the type of business, you're normally getting more than 22% in interest rate. The third thing that I saw was that a lot of farmers were paid a little bit too late from the moment their coffee was sold. Some farmers wait 2-3 months to get paid after they have already spent all the money on harvesting and paid their workers. So that's whole situation about cash flow is very hard to deal with. So this is a situation that Paul and I saw, and we said that, okay, the only way to tackle this is with a fixed price or a better price or something that's more stable. Coffee is traded as a commodity, of course, as the second most traded commodity in the world after gas, oil, petroleum. So for those who don't know, right now, 1 pound of coffee, it's worth about $1 per pound in the global market. From that dollar, 20 cents normally go to your maintenance, like your fixed maintenance, as well as your fertilization, and about 25 cents will go to fertilizer. If you're selling your coffee locally, you're not getting $1. You're getting 60 cents. So that only gives you about, 30 cents or so a profit. So if you're lucky enough to sell your coffee abroad, you also have to pay 45 cents to prep your coffee for an export, to be in a bag, prepped in a grain proto bag, ready to be shipped in a container at the port. The problem with that is that because coffee trades at $1, now you're already breaking even. So you spend an entire year work, an entire year credits, an entire year worth of labor, and you're not making any money, right? So a lot of farmers tend to see themselves doing 2-3 businesses at a time, or doing 2-3 different crops at a time with their plantation. To give you an idea of the size of a coffee farm in Honduras, coffee farms is about 2.8 hectares plantation. So a coffee farmer normally sells about 7,000 pounds of coffee a year. That comes to around $4,000 a year. And that's the average size, right? So if you have a bigger plantation, you can make $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, maybe 10. But normally you're ranging around the $4,000. Unfortunately, again, coffee is a commodity, so it has to depend on the price that NASDAQ, the stock exchange, has set for it, based on supply and demand. NASDAQ is the second biggest trading stock exchange in market capitalization after New York Stock Exchange. So, with all this economic problem, you also have to face other facts that still will influence the price of coffee. One of those facts is that despite that some countries raise their production, their profits are normally lower. Because as you produce more coffee, you have more supply, your coffee price drops, and you make less. The other thing is that in the last 10 years, the highest price of coffee has been about $3 and $2. And that is a little bit better, but that doesn't normally happen. It's normally $1 or $1.30. If you're lucky enough, it's $1.50. So the problem with money is not just that your profit, what you're making, but also the environmental impact becomes secondary for a lot of the farmers. So if you're going to pay labor to do grass management, you can say, oh, well, if I use herbicides, I'm going to be saving a ton of money because I just have to spray the grass. I don't have to pay much labor for it. So a lot of farmers tend to go into herbicides instead of paying the labor for grass management. So if we want to ask a farmer, please don't use a herbicide, but we want to pay the same price, it's a little bit not fair, and for both ends, of course. Now, another problem is that these farmers tend to fertilize less frequently. So when you're fertilizing, you have a certain set amount of fertilizations per year. If you don't have enough money, you normally don't do it as often. So that also affects your own production. So some years you'll be spending a little, getting a little bit less production, making less revenue. Now certifications are very important. I'm sure you probably guys heard the talks before about fair trade. Fair trade, Rainforest Alliance, Fair Trade Organic, USDA Organic, all these certifications help farmers guide themselves economically, environmentally, and socially. So they will say something like, please don't use herbicides, please pay your workers fairly, please do all these things. But then their coffee price doesn't raise as much. It might be 5 cents, and a lot of those 5 cents go to Rainforest Alliance to keep operating. And then Rainforest Alliance will give a subsidy to the farmer. So in a way, it does help a lot, but it doesn't help to the magnitude that a lot of us think that it helps. Now, for us as a farm, because I'm an environmental scientist, with my background now, I'm able to do different things in the plantation. So we start collecting data, and we start doing things a little bit more organizedly. One of them is we start doing a better crop rotation. We do better grass management. We're also starting to create our own organic fertilizer instead of buying fertilizer. And we're trying to keep biodiversity high, because if you don't want your plants to get sick, biodiversity normally helps them. And because a lot of beetles or a lot of these insects that might affect directly a coffee plant, either by getting rid of its leaves or giving it this other sort of sickness to the plant that might kill your plant, can be stopped by having other animals that might eat those beetles. It could be a bird, it could be another rodent, but biodiversity helps each other and makes a good balance in your plantation. So the higher biodiversity you have, the most chances you have of having a healthy plantation. The other thing, obviously, is not to overdevelop your plantation. So farmers, despite having to deal with a lower coffee price and the credits and having to put environmental impact as a secondary thing, they also have other needs that they need to cover. So back in 2017, I decided to go to a village called El Cedral in Honduras as well, in my area. And I wanted this village to be my pilot project. So as a pilot project, we wanted to come and say, what are your needs and how can we help meet them? And it doesn't necessarily have to come from your own pocket. So some of the things that they said to us, instead of us telling them what to do, they told us their needs. And some of them were very basic. They were so basic, they were like garbage management, water management, animal control. There were such other ones as like more technical, like having access to a coffee laboratory or a coffee processing site that is shared by everyone. None of them were looking to make millions. None of them were looking to, make their house bigger. They just wanted something basic that they don't have. So we said, okay, one way to achieve this is that if we get a better price, we can then have, say, 10 cents or 15 cents of that pound go to a fund, and that fund can fund these programs. Some of them it can be funded by the government, some can be funded by the NGOs, some can be funded by the certifications. But there is room to do these things. Now, pushing for fixed prices is very important because it gives you a budget to work around it, and that's what Papa Bean has given us. They pay us a fixed price for an indefinite amount of time, and we're able to work as a business organizedly, working with our fixed costs, getting the same money every year, and we're able to improve other things. in terms of the preparation of the coffee, saving other costs that we know are fixed that we can save on, instead of trying to sell our coffee for more money, because we already have a fair price. One more thing that Papa Bean has done this year is we met with one of these farmers who said, I would like to sell you some coffee, however, I will need a loan to complete my harvest. So according to the amount of coffee we're going to buy as a first-time buy for him, we said, okay, we can buy $2,000 worth of coffee this time. And we said, how much will you need to be able to cover your harvest this year? He said, half of it is fine, $1,000. So we were the first ones to offer a micro loan to this farmer at 0% interest. Didn't charge any interest. We don't have a contract. We're different countries, so it's a little hard to guide that. But we took a leap just to see if we could have that done. And again, just to close this up, we're obviously going to be doing this with that farmer eventually this year. Give him the other half when the harvest is completed, and that will be a good pilot project to start with. And we're looking to do this with other farmers too. Now, just to close my talk today, I just want to remind you, I want to say thanks to Papa Bean for trusting us and for giving us the opportunity to have a fixed price, as well as everybody for inviting us to talk here today. As Paul says, every coffee is special in their own way. Every bean is special in their own way. So next time you buy a coffee, don't just look into the label and say, it has rainforest, it has fair trade. That's important, yes, but it's not about buying a coffee bag that has that stamp, going home and drink it, and then feel good about it. It's about taking action, and there's a lot of NGOs and a lot of businesses that are here that have to lead that movement to help you, give you a product that you can support, that matches with your goals, with what you want for these farmers. And I will encourage you to find that business and then keep loyal to them, because then they can give that opportunity to the farmers. So again, the power is in your hands as a consumer, and you as roasters and importers, the power is also for you to lead this movement. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Ramon. That was very, very interesting. It's really great to be able to learn about the background of where our coffee comes from, how it affects the society here and elsewhere. Does anybody have any questions for Ramon? Est-ce qu'il y a des questions dans la foule pour Ramon? Si oui, vous pouvez lever votre main, vous pouvez parler dans le micro ou je peux traduire pour vous. So if you have any questions, you can raise up your hand. I'll come and give you the mic, or I can speak on your behalf. Est-ce qu'il y a des questions? Questions? You can go and talk to Ramon personally at his booth at Papa Bean, which is, can you point it out?
It's just right there in the middle of the left side of the building.
Vous pouvez aller voir Ramon et lui parler directement là-bas. Je suis certaine qu'il serait heureux de partager plus avec vous. So I'm sure he'd be happy to share more with you. So thank you again very much, Ramon.
Thank you very much for having me here today. Have a good rest of your show, guys.